Do I really have a voice? It's a fair question. At work, even if the company says all voices matter, and your manager says, I want to hear what you have to say, when you speak up, you're often then shut out of conversations, taken off the juicy projects. At home, it's no better. Your helpful suggestion, your kind reminder goes without appreciation. You end up getting the silent treatment or the cold shoulder instead. Even in situations where you technically have a vote, like the bylaws say that you have a vote, it doesn't seem to make a difference because other people have already made up their mind of what they're going to do. So you might spend all this time and energy trying to persuade people, trying to share your point of view, and it really just feels like you're yelling into the void and getting blowback from those around you for how you've done it wrong or what you should have done instead. So, do you have a voice? The simple answer, the intellectual answer, the logical answer is that if you're human, you do. By nature of the fact that you're human, you have a point of view, a perspective, an ability to choose what you say, what you do, what you don't do. And starting with broadening our definition of voice can be really helpful because voice isn't just the words that you say or don't say in a meeting. Voice is how you move through the world. Where do you spend your time? How do you use your energy, the resources at your disposal? Are you going to hold the door open for the people coming after you as you leave the grocery store? Are you going to let it slam shut? How are you going to react when other drivers inevitably cut you off? Voice is the ability to choose how you show up day in and day out. And sometimes voice, how we move through the world, is quiet, doesn't use that many words. But as we all know, impact doesn't have to be loud. Impact results from the actions that we take. So using your voice, knowing you have a voice starts with intentionality, starts with clarity, starts with answering the deeper questions that we rarely spend time on. How do you want to live? How do you want to lead? What values do you hold and do you want to live by? This is the deeper work about voice that no one really talks about. Because meetings will come and go, but you're the one who's living your life. And if you have one life to live, how do you want to live it? Not how does your mother want you to live it? Not how does your manager want you to live it? Not even how your kids want you to live it. How do you want to live it? Now, part of the trick of having a voice is also knowing where and when you make the ultimate call. In my book, Unlearning Silence, this is page 100. It's a framework that I use called the 3 buckets. In any decision, there are 3 different roles. There's the decision maker, the person who actually decides. There are the people who are consulted, right? I want to get your opinion and perspective, but at the end of the day, it's the people in the decide bucket that actually decide. And there are the people who are informed. They aren't consulted, they don't decide, they just find out about it afterwards. One of the biggest pitfalls I've come across as I've been coaching teams for more than a decade, working with leadership teams and managers of all different levels, is the lack of clarity as to which role we actually have. If we think that we are in the decision-making bucket and we are a co-decision maker with the other person, and then things don't go our way, we're often left thinking, well, I guess I didn't have a voice after all. I didn't have a say in that. Right? That's that old repeated pattern of, if you already knew what you're going to do, why did you take the time to ask me what I thought? There's a fundamental difference between being a decision maker and being consulted. Knowing which bucket you're in, which bucket the other person or people expect you to be in, allows you to therefore allocate your energy strategically. If you have a voice, but you're in the consult bucket, then your responsibility is to share your perspective, advocate for what you think is right, and at the end of the day, know that it's the decision makers who make the call and the ones who are held accountable for whatever decision they make. Knowing that we are consulted is still utilizing our voice to try to influence an outcome. But there's an emotional, I would say, protection, but also wisdom in knowing where do I actually fall in terms of what bucket I'm in. Third, if your own sense of voice is unclear or dull because you've spent your life contorting to other people's expectations, you might start with some internal work, right? If speaking up in the meeting seems too daunting, you might start with the internal work of asking yourself 2 questions. Number 1, what do I think? Do I agree with what the person's saying or not saying? Even as you're watching this video or reading this transcript right now, do you agree with what I'm saying, or actually does it just seem like a whole bunch of bull? Either answer is okay, but the process is to remind yourself that you have a thought process of your own. The second question is, what do I need? So often we silence our own needs. Our bodies are telling us what we need, like a nap. Our bodies are telling us this isn't okay, but we tell ourselves through our self-talk, it's okay, just power through, it doesn't matter. And so we silence our own needs. So if you're looking for a way to re-nurture your voice, re-nurture your sense of self, start with the internal work of asking yourself those 2 questions. What do I think? What do I need? And after you've done that and notice that you do have thoughts, feelings, perspectives, hopes, dreams of your own, it's hard not to then decide when, where, and with whom might you share those thoughts and perspectives. Again, voice is about choice. Voice is about the agency to choose how you're showing up day in and day out. And no one will live your life the way you do because no one is you. If you found this helpful, I invite you to share it with someone you think who needs to hear it. See you next time.